Alexander the Great, the man who conquered the world before he conquered himself. History has known many kings, conquerors, and empire builders, but only one earned the title the Great. Alexander of Macedon did not merely expand borders. He reshaped the ancient world, blended civilizations, and changed the course of history before dying at just 32 years of age. In little more than a decade, he created one of the largest empires the world had ever seen, stretching from Greece to Egypt, Persia, and the edges of India. His story is not only one of military brilliance, but also of ambition, identity, culture, and tragedy. Early life, a prince born for destiny. Alexander was born in 356 BCE in the ancient kingdom of Macedon, in what is today northern Greece. His father, King Philip II, was a formidable warrior and statesman who transformed Macedon from a minor kingdom into the dominant military power of Greece. His mother, Olympias, was a woman of fierce intelligence and deep religious conviction. She believed Alexander was destined for greatness, and made sure he believed it too. From a young age, Alexander was exposed to politics, warfare, and philosophy. One of the defining moments of his childhood came when he tamed the wild horse Bucephalus, a feat no one else could manage. Philip is said to have told his son, "Macedon is too small for you." Those words would later prove prophetic. At the age of 13, Alexander's education was entrusted to Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers in history. Under Aristotle's guidance, Alexander studied philosophy, science, medicine, literature, and ethics. He developed a deep admiration for Homer's Iliad, viewing Achilles as his personal hero. This blend of intellectual depth and martial ambition would define Alexander's unique leadership style. Rise to power, a king at 20. In 336 BCE, King Philip II was assassinated under mysterious circumstances. At just 20 years old, Alexander ascended the throne. Many believed he was too young to rule, and rebellions erupted across Greece. Alexander responded not with hesitation, but with swift and brutal decisiveness. He crushed revolts in Thessaly and Thebes, famously destroying the city of Thebes as a warning to others, sparing only temples and scholars. This act cemented his authority and ensured Greek submission. Once his position was secure, Alexander turned his gaze eastward toward the greatest prize of all, the Persian Empire. The Persian campaign, challenging a superpower. The Persian Empire, ruled by King Darius III, was the most powerful empire of the ancient world. It stretched across 3 continents and commanded immense wealth and manpower. Yet Alexander believed it could be defeated. In 334 BCE, Alexander crossed into Asia Minor with an army of roughly 40,000 men, small by Persian standards, but highly trained, disciplined, and loyal. At the Battle of the Granicus River, Alexander won his first major victory against Persian forces. It was the opening blow of a campaign that would shake the world. Alexander followed with decisive victories at Issus, 333 BCE, and Gaugamela, 331 BC, where his tactical brilliance overwhelmed much larger Persian armies. At Gaugamela, Alexander's use of cavalry, formation, and timing shattered Persian resistance. Darius fled the battlefield, and the Persian Empire effectively collapsed. Conqueror and liberator. Egypt and the East. After defeating Persia, Alexander marched south into Egypt, where he was welcomed not as a conqueror, but as a liberator from Persian rule. The Egyptians declared him a pharaoh, and he founded the city of Alexandria, which would later become one of the greatest centers of learning and culture in the ancient world. Rather than ruling through destruction alone, Alexander often adopted local customs, respected religions, and retained regional administrators. This approach helped him stabilize his vast territories and encouraged loyalty among conquered peoples. But Alexander's ambition did not end with Persia or Egypt. He pressed onward into Central Asia, facing fierce resistance in modern-day Afghanistan and beyond. These campaigns were brutal, testing both Alexander and his army to their limits. Into India, the edge of the known world. In 326 BCE, Alexander crossed into the Indian subcontinent, facing King Porus at the Battle of the Hydaspes River. Despite difficult terrain and war elephants, Alexander emerged victorious. Impressed by Porus's courage, he allowed him to continue ruling as a local king, an example of Alexander's respect for strength and leadership. However, this campaign marked a turning point. After years of constant warfare, Alexander's soldiers, exhausted and far from home, refused to go further east. Reluctantly, Alexander agreed to turn back. It was the first and only time his will was defied. Leadership style, warrior, king, visionary. Alexander was not a distant ruler. He fought alongside his soldiers, shared their hardships, and led from the front. He was wounded multiple times in battle, reinforcing his image as a fearless warrior. Yet his leadership was complex. As his empire expanded, Alexander began adopting Persian customs, including royal dress and court rituals. This angered many of his Macedonian companions, who believed he was abandoning Greek traditions. Tensions grew, and Alexander's behavior became increasingly erratic. One of the darkest moments of his life came when, in a drunken rage, he killed his close friend Clytus, who had once saved his life. Alexander was devastated afterward, realizing that power had begun to isolate him from those closest to him. Death in Babylon, a sudden end. In 323 BCE, while planning further campaigns in Arabia and the Western Mediterranean, Alexander fell ill in Babylon. After several days of fever, he died at the age of 32. The cause of his death remains a mystery. Theories range from malaria and typhoid fever to poisoning. When asked to whom his empire should be given, Alexander reportedly said, "To the strongest." This cryptic answer led to decades of war among his generals, known as the Wars of the Diadochi. Legacy: why Alexander still matters. Alexander's empire fragmented soon after his death, but his impact endured for centuries. He spread Greek culture, language, and ideas across vast regions, giving rise to the Hellenistic Age, a period of cultural fusion between East and West. Cities he founded, especially Alexandria in Egypt, became hubs of science, philosophy, and learning. His conquests indirectly influenced the rise of Rome, the spread of Christianity, and the development of global civilization. Alexander remains a symbol of human potential and human limitation, a man who conquered the world, yet could not conquer time, fate, or himself. Conclusion: a legend beyond time. Alexander the Great was more than a conqueror. He was a student of philosophy, a master of war, a visionary ruler, and a deeply flawed human being. His life reminds us that greatness often comes at a cost, and that history is shaped not only by power, but by ideas, ambition, and belief. More than 2,000 years later, his name still echoes across continents. Empires rose and fell, borders changed, but Alexander's legacy remains immortal, etched not just in maps and monuments, but in the very idea of what one determined individual can achieve.